Hey everyone, what's up? This is Simon from DevDectic and the Ionic Academy. This is the first video of our two-part series on building an Ionic app with AWS backend or S3 integration. Let me just get 1, 2, 3, 4 my zoom right. So in this first video, we will take care of building a little server. Why a server? Because we want to make it secure and we just want to allow upload to the S3 bucket once we got a signed request. So we have to build a little backend which can give us a signed request, and in the second part we can then use our Ionic app to upload a captured image to S3 directly, more or less after getting this signed request. And also we want to be able to list the files, and that's what our backend will do for us. So first of all, I've created a new folder and I've added a package JSON. Let me just run npm install. It's a very basic setup. You can find it in the link tutorial below this video. Basically, we need the Amazon SDK and some stuff for the Express backend we're using. So in order to make everything safe, we will use an environment file where we will keep our secrets, and we will also make this ready so it could be deployed to Heroku, for example, and we will also run it locally using Heroku. And Heroku will take care of adding the environment files to our process. So what we need is an S3 bucket name. We need our access key ID, and we also need a secret access key. So let's see. I'm inside my console and we need to do two things. So we need to go to S3, and we also need our what's again identity access management. We start by creating a new user right here. I already got two, but I will add a new one. We will simply call this test user, and it's important to have programmatic access to our buckets. Then we will attach an existing policy directly, and we search for S3, and we want to give him full access to this user. Then you have to scroll down to go to the next view, and we are ready. And then you will see your user. This is the access key of the user, and if you reveal this, this is the secret access key. Of course, I will delete this user after the video, so yeah, it's not really of any use. Once you're inside your S3 overview, you will see your buckets, and I've already created a DevDectic bucket. So if you don't have a bucket, create one and then add the name right here. So this was my bucket. Nothing special, no permissions, so nobody can actually see the files in here. They're not public available, and that makes our app a bit more secure. So then we need a secrets JSON file in which we will actually export our keys. So we got the AWS bucket, and this will be available through process, and then we got, I think, S3, yes, bucket. And then we got two more. We got our key and we got the secret, and both can be accessed through the process. Let's see what's wrong in here. I don't know, but of course, okay. Now these will be filled once we run our server, and we can then use them inside our app. So we need two more files. Of course, we need a server file and we also need a controller which will take care of all the actions of our backend. So let's start with the controller. I will add use strict at the top, and then we can start by requiring the SDK first of all, and then we go ahead with our secrets, which can be nope which can be also required using secrets. I think it should be secrets, right? Yes. All right, so now we got access to those two, and we can create a new S3 object by using the SDK and calling S3. And we can, or we need to specify some parameters here. So I had to specify the signature version 4 and also the region of my bucket. And you can find this, if you go here, you will see region, and my one is in the Europe Central 1. So make sure to change this for your region inside your app. Then we will create a few functions which we will later assign to our requests in the server file. And let me just create the outline here, and I will go through them in a second. So get file signed request. What's wrong with you? Come on. List files, and finally delete file. Okay, so the first one will give us a signed request to actually upload a file to the S3 bucket from our Ionic app. The second one will give us a signed request to access the resource on S3. This will list all the files of the bucket, and this will simply delete a file. You might also ask why we're doing it like this. I encountered this problem when hosting an app on Heroku, where you are not able to store any data on the server. So Heroku is not for hosting stuff. But I still wanted to use my backend, and in combination with AWS. So I had to come up with this solution, and it's also the proposed solution from Heroku, how to upload your files through your server. Okay, enough of this. Let's start with the first one. And we need to access a few parameters from the query params of our object. We will just use file name, and then we will also get the file type right here. And then we create new S3 params object, which will hold some more information for our request. So first of all, the bucket, and this is stored right here, so we can use this. The key is more or less the file name under which it will be stored. We can set an expire time, and I would recommend to do this because after you get the signed request, you should shortly upload the file, otherwise it will expire. We can set the content type to the file type, and finally add some access control and make this resource definitely only private available. So these are the params for our request, and now we can use the SDK again to call, so many options, get signed URL. So this will give us a pre-signed URL for an operation, and our operation is called put object because we want to put a new object into our bucket. We add our parameters right here, and then we will hopefully get something useful back in the end right here. If we encounter any errors right here, yeah, we can log them if we want to, but also we can simply end this. So not the best error handling in this tutorial, but doesn't matter right here. To return, we can construct a little data object and put the data we got in it. So our signed request will be data, and the URL to the actual file could be HTTPS, and then the secrets AWS bucket s3.amazon.com/. So this would be the real URL to the file. And of course, we then need to send out the data as JSON back to our client. Okay, so in general, this is how it works all the time. We get a signed URL for a request, we do it, and we return something to our user. Now, to get a file, we can first of all copy this and reuse it right here. The bucket is still the same. The key is now in request params file name, and we will inspect this and how the call should look like with Postman in a second. So perhaps also add an expire time, and again use our SDK to get a signed URL, and this time for get object, because we just want to get the URL to one image file. Again, add the params, and then we hopefully again got some data right here, and we return simply the data, no transformation in here. Okay, so two more operations. To list files, we just need the bucket where we want to list the files from, and then we need the delimiter, which hopefully should give us only the top level of that bucket. So if you have folders in that, I hope this should work. So then we can use list objects, and we only need the parameters. And just like before, we could add some error handling as well, perhaps here as well, and here as well. But in the end, simply return the data. And finally, deleting a file from our bucket works again more or less the same. The key in this case is again right inside our request. And now we want to delete object params, our stuff, error handling, and finally, yeah, we can also simply say 200 send with a message we can display on the front end side, file deleted. All right, so this is our controller, and now we just need our server. We already got a lot of coding, so I will copy in the mandatory stuff, and we will only look at the interesting stuff. So some imports, use helmet, some security, load our environment, use the body parser, add some cores, some handling, start the app. So this is more or less some general Node.js Express server setup. What actually is interesting is how to call our routes. So we need a get route first of all to AWS and sign, and this will give us once the app wants to upload an image, a signed request. And we can use our controller signed request. Okay, first one. Got 3 more and 3 more. Okay. Then we want to list the files. So list files goes here. Then we want to access one file by its file name. So if we do it like this, we can access the file name right here through the params. So this will be get file signed request. And finally, we want to send a delete request to files, again /file name, and this time called delete file. So this is how our routes for the app look like. And now we can give all of this a little try inside Postman. Okay, so before starting, make sure I had a little typo in here which gave me credentials error. So these are also used from the Amazon SDK under the hood. So make sure you change it to access key right here and also right here. But once we got this, let's see, we can open Postman with our collection. And we make the first request, which is to signed request the first. Oh, and one more thing. So if you started like Node server.js, it will work, but you won't get access to the environment variables. That's why I directly use the Heroku tool build to call Heroku local. And then you will see a log where he loads the environment file directly into our app, and then we can make the first request right here. So the first one is used once we want to upload a file. We pass in the name and the type, and we get back this interesting URL right here. So now it's a bit hard to fake this because our app would now make a put request using this URL to upload something to our S3 bucket. But actually we can also do this with Postman. So I will put in the new URL. We got the headers right here, and we should choose a file right here. Perhaps some image of a tutorial. No, let's take a real JPEG file and then send it and wait for it because this file was not small. But if we go to our console now, we see that our file is actually here. If we want to open it through the link, we got access denied because nobody has access to this file. There are no permissions set, so it's completely hidden from the world. Let's continue by listing out the files, which was our second route here. So if we call this, we got the response from the SDK, some stuff in here. But what's interesting is the array right here. You see key my file, some stuff, we don't really need it right now, but it's actually listed as one file right here. Now we need a way to display this file. So therefore we make the third call to get a file signed request. I've prepared this right here, I think, but this should be my file. So we just need the key of the file. Of course, my file is now really bad name, but with our app, we will create a more unique name. So once we do this request, we get back a signed request to this file. And let's open this and make a get request. And yeah, that's what's happening if we don't set the headers right. I'm not sure if this will now work. Yeah, if the content type is set correctly, we will also get the image back. So the put request, as I said, is a bit tricky from Postman, but our Ionic app will handle this. Finally, we can, of course, also delete my file if we want to. No, we don't need a body, I think. just a request, and we get back file deleted. And let's verify this. Yep, the file is gone. And also, if we call the list, content is empty. So let's do this. I think we had enough of this, right? Okay, so this is or was the first part of our series. Inside the second part, we will use these routes inside our Ionic app to capture an image, upload it to our S3 bucket, print or show a list of files of that bucket, and also allow the user to delete files. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Some parts were a bit tricky, especially all the Amazon SDK stuff in here. You can find a written version of this video linked below. So leave a comment if you enjoyed it. If you want more complete full stack tutorials, including backend and Ionic frontend, please leave a note. I really love to create these. So if you enjoy them as well, just let me know and I will come up with some more stuff. Also, if you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. And I will see you inside the next part, which is perhaps not yet released once you watch this video. But if it is, enjoy the second part and have a great day.